So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right on the show today, there's lots heading your way. West Indies stuns New Zealand in front of home crowd that cheered every delivery and every moment of the game as West Indies rediscovering its mojo in T20 cricket once more. Also, Australia seems to make it quite a habit of saying things that sometimes they just shouldn't. Tongue-in-cheek humour is fine, so too mind games. But have they crossed the line with their recent comment about underperforming against Scotland just to knock out England from the Super 8s? And speaking of foot in mouth, Mbappe seems to have done that. No, we are not talking about any more quips on PSG, but he's made a statement that's brought Lionel Messi out to combat it. Euros versus World Cup glory at the heart of this one. And Roger Federer was unbeatable on court and looks like he's unbeatable even off the court. He's wowed students of Dartmouth College with his life advice. And we're going to give you some of the best bits of that one. You don't want to miss this. But first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket, India have qualified for the Super 8s of the T20 World Cup. This after they defeated United States by 7 wickets. Suryakumar Yadav scored an unbeaten half-century and Arshdeep Singh returned with 4 wickets. India haven't lost a game in the tournament so far and will face Canada in their final group match in Florida this Saturday. Over in football, Lionel Messi says he intends to finish his career at Inter Miami, but he has no plans to retire just yet. Messi said that although he's not ready to leave the sport yet, Inter Miami will be his last club. The Argentine footballer joined the Major League Soccer team after leaving Paris Saint-Germain last summer. Messi's contract with Inter Miami ends after 2025. Over in tennis, Rafael Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz will partner for the men's doubles at the 2024 Paris Olympics. The duo will start their campaign on the 27th of July at Roland Garros, home of the French Open. And this could be Nadal's farewell Olympics. He won gold in the singles category at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Over in the NFL, legend Tom Brady's jersey number 12 is set to be retired. The New England Patriots made the announcement during Brady's Hall of Fame induction. The team will also unveil a 12-foot statue of Brady outside the Patriots Hall of Fame. Brady won 6 Super Bowl championships with the club in his 20-year-long career. And NBA legend Jerry West dies at 86. West inspired the logo of the NBA. West played in 9 NBA finals with the Los Angeles Lakers and won the title in 1972. He was the 3rd player in NBA history to reach 25,000 points. West was also part of the USA team that won gold at the 1960 Olympics in Rome. As a cricket fan, you enjoy some stories just a little bit more than the rest, like West Indies steamrolling an opposition with a power-packed pace bowling performance and a flamboyant lower-order batting assault. Fans witnessed the classic West Indian spirit as they shut out New Zealand to make it to the Super 8s of the T20 World Cup. Now, it's been one of the most disheartening performances for a team like New Zealand. Semi-finalists the last edition and finalists the time before. The chance of qualifying very, very slim now for them. But coming back to West Indies, when was the last time you saw West Indies cricket coming together in this fashion? A team shrouded in battles between management and players, cricketers breaking their contracts to become free agents and exploring T20 cricket leagues the world over. But now come a World Cup and at home, in front of the true passionate cricket fans who've seen the rise and the fall of West Indian cricket over decades. West Indies cricket stands up tall. A team that has had a horrid T20 World Cup campaign, not just the last edition, but even the one before. Since they won it back in 2016, it's not been happy times. And in these celebratory moments that you see after the game, you see the reasons for their success story that is slowly gaining momentum. A strong backroom led by former captain Darren Sammy, just standing in the shadows to let the players soak it all in. A cool and calm captain in Rovman Powell, who knows how to get the best out of his side. Andre Russell, the senior and a backbone of this team. Rutherford's glorious hitting and his quiet confidence, and he's one of the youngest there. He says this is just the beginning. Another youngster in Alzarri Joseph, growing in experience. This is a team that looks like it's on a mission. And with this performance, they are telling us once again that they cannot be discounted, and definitely not at home. Now, we saw them do the impossible in Test cricket not too long ago when they stunned the mighty Aussies in their own backyard, absolutely demolished them. And they are carrying that momentum over here in T20 cricket too. One of the key performers back then was Alzarri Joseph as well as Shamar Joseph. And here, in fact, it's his teammate Shamar Joseph speaking about how important Alzarri is to the West Indian scheme of things. He was one of the key performers in the win just some hours back.
Having a guy like Alzarri Joseph, he is amazing. He's a great, what must I say, a great example of a fast bowler. Hard work, determined to win, love to win. So, having someone like that by your side, I look up to Alzarri Joseph. He played all format of the game, and he have never missed a test match, And, that action encouraged me that if, Alzarri could do this, I could do this also. I want to dedicate myself to play a lot of test cricket, a lot of ODI for West Indies.
All right, Shamar Joseph, in fact, talking of the true qualities that really sets someone like Alzarri Joseph apart from the rest. Now, but for New Zealand, it's another heartbreaking, disappointing tournament. The warning signs, of course, came in after they crumbled against Afghanistan last week. The batters again falling short and being completely found out in these conditions and to a quality attack done in by pace against Afghanistan and here too against the West Indies. Now, we talk so much about revamping a T20 side, getting in fresh young talent. Look, it isn't about doing away with the old and getting in the new. I'm not saying that. Even if you compare the average age group of both these sides, there isn't much separating them. But you have a team like New Zealand where almost every single member in that squad is in their early 30s. Tim Southee being the oldest in that squad. Now, that's a lot of cricket amongst them all. That can take a toll on you, more mentally than physically. A lot of cricket all through the year and almost the same set of players going in and out. Nothing seemingly fresh except for Rachin Ravindra. But one swallow doesn't make a summer. And there were moments of brilliance here out there for them too, but nothing cohesive and collective enough to push for a win. Now, if you look at that Group C on paper, they will most likely win the next two fixtures, but so will Afghanistan, who's sitting right in a good position at number 2. This is not enough to make this tournament a memorable campaign for New Zealand. The tale of two contrasting superpowers in cricket so far have now swapped roles. West Indies is on an upswing here, as New Zealand face tough questions at this point. They seem to be at crossroads when it comes to their cricket and their future, and they still have a tournament left to finish. This T20 World Cup has surely come alive. After the wins yesterday, the T20 World Cup, Australia over Namibia and India over USA both sealed their spots in the Super 8s and will have a go at each other. As per the fixtures a little later, revenge will be on the cards for India then for their loss in the ODI World Cup final, but there is still some time for that because Australia is already making more headlines. And no, it was not just for their clinical victory over Namibia. It's for a comment that their fast bowler Josh Hazlewood chose to make about England's qualification hanging in the balance.
They're probably one of the best few teams on their day, and we have had some real struggles against them in T20 cricket. So if we can get them out of the tournament, that's in our best interest, as well as probably everyone else.
Hazlewood joking about throwing away the match against Scotland. Now look, there are many ways to taunt, tease and engage in war of words to get under an opponent's skin. And let's be honest, Australia are champions when it comes to this. They are great at foreplay with words rather than fair play. Okay, maybe I'm a bit harsh here, and yes, Hazlewood was making a tongue-in-cheek comment there, but most definitely one that was not too wise. So why is this game between Australia and Scotland set to take place on Saturday this weekend so crucial for England? England's qualification rests on this result. Now, they don't just have to win their own remaining matches, that's against Oman and Namibia, but also improve their net run rate. So win big and hope that Australia beat Scotland by a massive margin. Even a close finish between Australia and Scotland might affect England's chances of making it. That is a tall ask, but one that's not entirely impossible. Sure, the Ashes rivalry is an undercurrent in this scenario. There is enough acrimony and bad blood between these two cricketing nations for Australia to rib and sledge England. Everyone remembers the Johnny Bairstow controversial dismissal by Alex Carey that made waves even in political circles, with the prime ministers of the two countries, Anthony Albanese and Rishi Sunak, trying to make light of this. But maybe Hazlewood did not realize the implications of this one here. And if this was a seemingly innocent jibe, an ill-timed one nevertheless, here's what former Aussie cricketer was caught saying on a digital platform.
What Australia should do is to send its players on holiday for the last game and let Scotland win it, and England can pack their bags. They can field George Bailey, Andrew McDonald and Brad Hogg. I joke, but I am semi-serious at times. England are a fantastic white ball side, and if we have control on not having them there, see you later.
This coming from the master of sledging and chirping is not surprising. Tim Paine, a temporary Australia captain for the country when the whole sandpaper gate happened after David Warner and Steve Smith were suspended. But seriously, getting back to this comment here that's made a lot of waves, Australia doesn't seem to be learning. I mean, to be fair, there are times when they say stuff that Australia are able to follow up on. Like when Pat Cummins said he would silence the Indian crowd at the massive Ahmedabad Stadium on the day of the ODI World Cup final, and they did. But I think this time they've taken it a touch too far, because a statement has ripple effects, it has consequences and more scrutiny on its players. Because if ICC feels that Australia have manipulated the game in any way, they would risk losing their skipper, Mitchell Marsh, for up to 2 of their 3 Super 8 fixtures. If a team is found manipulating the game, such as deliberately losing a group match in an ICC event just to affect the standings of other teams in the same group, the captain will be held responsible and he'll have to pay. That just won't do. Now, the coach of the England team, Matthew Mott, came out saying, though Hazlewood may not have meant what he said truly, Mott did admit it was not the wisest cracks to make. And at this point, Australia and arrogance, both on and off the field, is quite a recurrent theme. They'll be hoping their fortunes play the same tunes as their pre-game wordplay. Because, dear Australia, there is a while from this point here to a title win. Kylian Mbappe versus Lionel Messi, a battle that everyone would love to watch. 2 stars of the football world and one of the biggest names in the sport. One, a legend in the making, and the other, one of the greatest of the game. And they have a fair bit of history too. They've shared a dressing room at Paris Saint-Germain. And the two have the same mentality. They both love the feeling of winning. Both are skillfully feisty on the field, and that's where, though, the similarity ends. The two have contrasting views on Euros and where it stands when it comes to the top competitions in the world of football.
It's a competition that is very complicated for me, more complicated than a World Cup. If we talk about level, it's difficult because all the squads know each other. We're used to playing against each other all the time. So tactically, it's similar football. It's very, very difficult. From the group stages, it's very, very difficult.
Euros more difficult than a World Cup. Now, that's a bit of a shocker, even from Mbappe, isn't it? I mean, I'm all for pride, but maybe Mbappe is overstating this. But if anyone can make a statement like that, it had to be Mbappe. He won the World Cup with France in 2018 and reached the final in 2022. And the only international trophy Mbappe hasn't won just yet is Euros. So I understand the sentiment behind him saying it. Not winning something means it is that much more unattainable to you. If France do end up winning Euros though, Mbappe's comment would stand for posterity, glorifying his career. Him winning Euros and a World Cup, incredible. But let's go back to what he said. Winning Euros more difficult than a World Cup. How can the biggest tournament in football be below a continental tournament? So quite obviously, Lionel Messi has hit back at Mbappe.
The Euros are very important, but it leaves out Argentina, 3-time world champion, Brazil, 5-time world champion, Uruguay, 2-time world champion. There are many world champions left out to say that the Euros is the most difficult, right? In the World Cup, the best teams are there. All the world champions are generally there. That's why everyone wants to be world champion.
Messi does make a valid point. Let me set this up for you. In the 2024 edition, 53 teams competed in the qualifiers in the quest to book 24 spots for Euros. A World Cup has more than 200 teams from 6 different confederations still battling it out for 48 spots in the main draw of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Now you're talking about many more teams from around the world coming in to compete for the trophy. So I tried to decipher what Mbappe really meant. Maybe he feels Euros is more difficult because all the teams are so used to playing each other. So you need to find more different ways to crack into teams who you are very familiar with. Familiarity lends to predictability. So maybe he means it's tough to defeat predictability, which is probably why there are hardly many upsets you witness in Euros. Reason why the winners of the last 3 editions have been the big guns in Spain, Italy, Spain and Portugal. On the other hand, World Cups pose the delicious treat of the uncertainty. You see lower ranked sides competing against the big guns, and that gives way to more exciting football. In 2022, we saw the rise of the smaller Asian sides. Saudi Arabia beating Messi's Argentina. 4-time world champions Germany getting knocked out of a group that had Spain, Costa Rica and Japan. And of course, 2016 Euros winners Portugal crashing out to Morocco in the quarterfinals. Bigger the platform means opening it up to bigger competition and lending itself to more intense contests and rivalry. The World Cup is a platform for all of this. A time to see giants up against underdogs, but can the same be said about Euros? I'll explain. You're looking at the World Cup winners from Europe versus from the South America. Europe's 5 teams, Germany, Italy, France, England and Spain, have won 12 World Cup titles between them, whereas South America's Argentina, Brazil and Uruguay alone have won the World Cup 10 times. So Mbappe's statement about Euros being more competitive clearly doesn't sit that well. How can a tournament that doesn't feature 3 countries who have won 10 World Cups amongst them alone be less competitive than Euros, which is what Messi was in fact countering with? Is Mbappe trying to say that if he has not won it, it's not easy after all? Whatever the reason, this statement, though, has set up the upcoming Euros and the Copa America tournaments rather nicely, 2 of football's biggest continental rivalries that will also determine which continent is the biggest when it comes to football. Roger Federer humbled the best on court. He stamped his authority on the world stage as numero uno in tennis. There are still many fans who swear by his breathtaking single-handed backhand and that whiplash forehand, and probably just as many who were mesmerized by his acceptance speeches. There's unfortunately no more thank you notes for Federer now after hanging his boots, but he does know how to hold an audience and inspire people even now with his words, as the Dartmouth College discovered. Take a look. This one is gold and there's something in it for everyone.
Thank you, everybody. It's great to see you. And hello, class of 2024. This is so exciting. Today, I want to share a few lessons I've relied on through this transition. Let's call them tennis lessons. Here's the first. Effortless is a myth. I mean it. I say that as someone who has heard that word a lot. Effortless. People would say my play was effortless. Most of the time, they meant it as a compliment. But it used to frustrate me when they would say he barely broke a sweat. I didn't get where I got on pure talent alone. I got there by trying to outwork my opponents. I believed in myself, but belief in yourself has to be earned. yes, talent matters. I'm not going to stand here and tell you it doesn't. But talent has a broad definition. Most of the time, it's not about having a gift. It's about having grit. In tennis, a great forehand with sick racket head speed can be called a talent. But in tennis, like in life, discipline is also a talent, and so is patience. Trusting yourself is a talent. Embracing the process, loving the process is a talent. Managing your life, managing yourself, these can be talents too. Some people are born with them. Everybody has to work at them. Okay, second lesson. It's only a point. Let me explain. You can work harder than you thought possible and still lose. I have many times. Tennis is brutal. For me, one of the biggest was the finals at Wimbledon in 2008, me versus Nadal. Some call it the greatest match of all time. Okay, all respect to Rafa, but I think it would have been way, way better if I had won. Some defeats hurt more than others. I knew I would never get another shot at 6 in a row. I lost Wimbledon, I lost my #1 ranking, and suddenly people said, he had a great run. Is this the changing of the guard? But I knew what I had to do. Keep working and keep competing. In tennis, perfection is impossible. In the 1,526 singles matches I played in my career, I won almost 80% of those matches. Now, I have a question for you. What percentage of points do you think I won in those matches? Only 54%. Whatever game you play in life, sometimes you're going to lose a point, a match, a season, a job. It's a roller coaster with many ups and downs. And it's natural. The best in the world are not the best because they win every point. It's because they know they'll lose again and again and have learned how to deal with it. Life is bigger than the court. A tennis court is a small space. Even when I was just starting out, I knew that tennis could show me the world, but tennis could never be the world. Go for your shots, play free, try everything, and most of all, be kind to one another, and have fun out there. Congratulations again, class of 2024.
Time for last serve. The Copa America is also set to begin soon enough. World Cup winners and defending champs Argentina are prepping for this one. Messi and company trained hard despite the pouring rain. Take a look. That wraps up Firstpost here today. Join us again tomorrow for more such updates and fresh perspectives from the world of sports. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.